The button.
Oh.
Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes. Nothing in this broadcast should be taken as legal or medical advice, or for that matter, nothing you see on the internet should ever be taken as legal or medical advice. So, okay, in the side chat, I see Ox has followed us over.
I was first because I did it like a half an hour ago.
Yep. So we've picked up Doc Fearsome, but otherwise this is pretty much just an extension of Godless Sewing stream from an hour ago.
Doc,
Yeah,
you're
we
always
just kept
invited to.
we've just all kept talking offline, you know, while we were getting stuff together here. So, and well, Doc's got his new phone, so that's good.
Yay!
I was halfway through a sentence and then you went live.
So see, but Doc, we have to highlight Doc right now because Doc has a new phone. We need to point that out.
Okay, well, Stool, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, because you clearly don't care.
Well, apathy is one of my survival tactics, but
Yeah. You do your disclaimer at the start of your show, but I was doing a serious before you went live.
Which
I will never forgive you for this, Purple, ever.
Oh, that reminds me.
yeah, and you know what? You're just going to collapse under the weight of all the grudges you're carrying. You know, Ox, you'd always be welcome to come in too if you ever actually want to get on a microphone. You certainly don't need to be on camera. I'm usually not. We've never seen what Doc looks like.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Yeah, you're welcome for that.
I think you should get over this hang up because you've been through. I'm not talking to you, Ox, but we've been through COVID and all the old people have learned how to use the Zoom. So just get on.
If someone doesn't want to show their face, they shouldn't have to. And I know, like, I'm not obligated to put on makeup when I come on streams, but 9 times out of 10, I do, unless it's last minute and I don't have makeup on and I decide, you know what, I'm just going to jump in and chat with everybody.
Nobody needs to show the face. Just, jump in and talk.
Well, the thing is, before my Uncle Ben died, he said, Peter, with great power comes great responsibility.
Did he actually say powder or
the sheer hideousness of my visage is a terrible, terrible power that I must take responsibility for it. So
I have doubts.
Yeah, I have doubts also because look at me. I'm a light bulb.
I look like Darth Vader without the helmet, all right?
Yeah, who gives a shit? Nobody gives a crap.
You know, I remember the first time I saw Star Wars, because, of course, with R2-D2 and C-3PO being major characters, for a while I was kind of confused and thought that Darth Vader and the Stormtrooper were also droids.
Oh, say that again, Purple. The last bit.
For a while I thought that Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers were also droids.
I thought the same thing too.
Darth Vader is kind of part
Jenny,
droid.
there you are.
I found it very confusing.
Good morning.
Yeah, and, I wasn't a really young kid at the time. I think I was like 14 when the first one came out.
It's easy to consider it and to think it. I mean, they are in robot-looking bodies.
It confused me massively because when I saw episode 4 for the first time, and I was young, what is Darth Vader? Because there was no kind of backstory. Is he a What is he?
Yeah, you just saw him, marching onto the screen. That it's this, big black suit of armor who's in command of all these smaller white suit of armor.
Exactly. And the stormtroopers.
So this just looked like a robot army trying to take over the ship.
Yeah, and the stormtroopers really fucked my brain up until the scene in the, what do you call it? I forget the fucking thing. The squashy thing.
The squashy thing? You mean Jabba the Hutt?
No, when
The AT-AT?
The garbage compactor.
that's the one, Jenny.
Compactor.
Huh.
Okay.
Where Luke takes the helmet off, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? These robots are shit. How does he have a robot helmet? How does that work? So it did take me many years to work that fucker out.
Okay.
I saw Empire first. I didn't see the original Star Wars first. So I always knew they were stormtroopers were people and Vader was a person.
Spoiler warning.
Humans.
Soylent Green is people. It's people.
First time I watched Star Wars, I wondered when Robbie the Robot was going to show up.
You're so old. Fuck off.
No, I missed that one too. I wonder how many TV shows Robbie was actually in.
Oh, I don't know. Probably lots, if you counted them.
Yeah, he made at least a one-scene appearance in quite a few. He was a featured character in at least 2 episodes of the original Twilight Zone. Was it Twilight Zone or Outer Limits? I'm not sure which of the two it was now. But yeah, he showed up as being a featured character in 2 of those. He showed up in Lost in Space. I think that was the only time he played a bad guy.
Danger.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that one. We get lost in space here every weekend, so
Okay,
I get to
so
watch these
the
horrible
bag
Irwin
is
Allen
finally done.
repeats.
So the one that I started
okay.
a B stream last night.
Kitty's showing off her work.
Cool.
Yes. So Stool, to show you what I was talking about, you can see here how there's purple thread here. In one stitch, I was able to get the purple on the outside and the pink on the inside because I used a different thread color in the top spool and the bottom bobbin.
That's so
And then
cool.
you've got the little panel here to unzip, and you've got your nice big bag with a liner. And then there are 2 elasticated pockets, one on either side, for
warmer, so
cell
you can
phone
and warm.
or a water bottle. And then on the front of the bag is another zippered pocket. And this is just, a small little zippered pocket. It goes down about here. So it comes down about halfway, it's about half the height of the bag for that interior pocket. And yeah, I'm actually quite happy with how it came out.
In America land, you would probably pay for what? I don't know, $200 or $300 for that.
Oh God, no! There's no way.
You could get 40, 50, 60 for a good bag like that. It would need leather to get the price up over that.
Especially since I could customize it.
Yeah. Well, it's gorgeous.
Well, even without customizing them, I could see you getting at least $50 a pop on Etsy.
You're in the wrong market. Go to where the bed and breakfast are. Charge $200 all day long.
She's super talented.
See, one of the big problems is that people don't want to pay for the time it takes to actually make things by hand. They're so used to the prices they see at Walmart that nobody wants to pay anyone for their time.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate bit of it. it takes a lot of time, and I mean, because I'm buying the materials as an individual person and not like a corporate entity, I, spend a lot more. Like the fusible foam that goes inside the bag, I scored this as a deal. There's 5 yards of that foam here. It cost me $20. Normally at Joann's, this is $60 worth of fusible foam,
Okay,
but it was on sale
I
half
really
off.
need to state the obvious here. Just taking a screenshot, Glitty.
It looks like a giant thing of toilet paper or paper towel.
I was going
And
totally
it's an
somewhere
emergency.
else.
But no, it looks like toilet paper. It literally does. It even has like little lines on it.
Yep.
It does now, but that's not what I was seeing. But anywho,
You have what, about 8 hours labor into that, or more?
Yeah, give or take. Like, honestly, I'm still, that's only the third one that I've made. So, like, I'm getting faster as I make more of them. But it does still take a while. Plus, with my disability, I have to take breaks, stretch out a bit, take some pain medicine. Like,
Oh no, that's inappropriate. We can't have you taking breaks, young lady. You
no,
get one of those things, and you can pee right there at the machine.
that's very un-American.
yeah, I'd say fuck off, Bezos. Like, can someone change her name to Jenny Bezos?
Sure, as long as I get the money.
If only.
Yeah,
Right?
but Sloth Girl runs into that a lot, when she shows her stuff off online that, she gets people messaging her, oh, that's cute, can you make me one? And it's like, yeah, then they only want to pay her for what it roughly costs her for materials and nothing for her time.
I saw this shawl. Now, admittedly, it was fairly intricate, but it was just stunning, and I would love to have it done.
I don't know how to knit.
And somebody said, well, it's a knitted item, and the person who has the pattern said, well, get a hold of this person and they can quote you a price to do it. And I did, just out of curiosity. She said, well, $300 to $400 for just a shawl. It's just a flat piece with a little fringe.
Yeah, but that intricate stuff takes hours upon hours of work. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is relatively quick by comparison. Like 8 hours worth of knitting for that intricate, you'd probably only get like this much of the damn shawl.
And it wouldn't even be a warm shawl. It was just a pretty shawl. So,
Yeah.
you're spending that much for not even practicality. It just looks.
Yeah, well, like that crocheted lace work, like I said, I've seen Sloth Girl doing it, and it's like, yeah, something like a shawl or like a half sweater, could easily wind up taking 30, 40 hours.
Yeah. And then you get some schlep mechanic who's charging $100 to change your damn brake rotors and pads, when I know damn well it only takes them about 15, 20 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
Although profession is a ripoff, just like taxi drivers, tow truck drivers.
Well, the scary thing, I hate dealing with auto mechanics I don't know, is because once they've got your car in there, you're pretty much stuck. Yep. You can't tell them not to do it at that point.
I think that a mechanic should get a certain amount of perk because they have learned to do the operation they're charging for so well. They do it so fast. But when I know that guy's getting $20, $25 an hour, and the shop is charging $75 to $100 an hour.
Yeah, well, certainly they deserve a decent hourly wage, because they've spent a good number of years learning their trade.
Yeah. But the economics of car stuff changed really badly when the internet came around, because everybody started buying parts online and taking it to the shop and saying, here's my parts, install them. And so if the shop doesn't make profit on parts, you're not going to keep the doors open.
As somebody who used to buy and sell cars, television ruined buying and selling cars, because people all of a sudden, I watched my dad buy a 69 Mustang for $500 and then turn around and like not have to work for a year after selling it. But after shows like Counting Cars and the Discovery Channel and the internet, people knew the real value of their cars.
Mm-hmm.
And so we couldn't walk into people's grandma's garage anymore and be like, hey, I'll give you $700 for that car that's been sitting in your garage for 30 years, you know.
Well,
Talking about television, I've just got to put this out there. I've discovered a new little pleasure.
there's a big difference between buying a barn find, which has generally been stored in, out of the sun in a relatively dry environment, to a claptrap that's been parked out in the grass for how many decades, and they think that the claptrap is worth the same amount as the barn find.
That's the problem too.
And so, dude, it's going to cost to restore this thing.
Yeah, but like in LA,
it's going to be all profit for you. Dude, you're just an asshole. Fuck you.
I had a family member who passed, and they were an of the older generation Korea War vet. And when we like emptied his house, and we went in his garage, and he had a '57 Chevy sitting there.
Oh,
my brother has it. My brother still has it to this day. He raided it out. He put Raider seats. I think it's dumb because I'm not hardcore Raider like that, but I'm not into football like that. But he hooked that car up. I wasn't willing to put the money into it so he could have it, but he hooked that car up. But that was a real barn find we found. Well, it was in the middle of Los Angeles, but
I have a car that I wanted to restore, but life changed things, and I really can't do it anymore. But I bought it right, and I paid $1,500 for it, and I should be able to get maybe $4,500 for it, even though it needs restoration. Because when it's done, it should get $25,000 to $30,000.
Hey Doc, how's your phone treating you?
It's doing okay, I guess. I'm not too loud, am I?
No, you sound great.
Is your phone getting really bored about all the car talk?
Yes, it is.
I just love how clear Doc is.
Did you say clear?
Yes. Sometimes I really wonder if you hear me.
You've been ignoring me all night long, you racist folk.
On purpose.
Am I muted?
Oh, here we go.
No, Stool, you're just eminently ignorable.
Kitty, do you drink your water in shots?
She's using it for her iron.
You cunts. Can I finish my story now, please?
By all means, please do.
Bearing in mind, Will. Yes, do your chair thing, Will. It's not your stream.
I'm listening to you.
Do your chair thing. You're not in charge anymore. So it doesn't impress me, Captain. I've been watching episodes of American Bandstand, would you believe?
Are you kidding? Repeats?
No, the live ones. And I'm quite enjoying it. That's my new thing.
The 1950s and 60s repeats of American Bandstand.
Oh, no. I think it was going on into the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, the Bandstand was going even when I was a kid because I used to watch Soul Train and then American Bandstand right after it.
Yeah, I heard that Dick Clark is still on it, but he's just like in this open casket, just letting the people dance around him.
He groomed Mario Lopez, so Mario Lopez is the new Dick Clark.
Oh yes,
he groomed him for years. He groomed him.
I was looking for, you know what I'm like. I was looking for things about ABBA, not necessarily the blonde one. I'm not sexist, but I found an episode of American Bandstand from 1975, and I found it was so funny because the guy who presented it, I don't know what his name is. He had a really stupidly. I love you Americans. You're such dicks. He had a really stupidly pointless microphone, and he was saying some really xenophobic things to ABBA. Would you believe? So tell me, is ABBA a big country? Do you like the Germans? Oh, weird.
Well, those are valid questions. You know, Germans, you gotta be careful.
Can you do a German accent? That's not a question.
Yeah. Ein, zwei, drei, vier.
Yeah, okay. I've just got a little bit of thing about the ABBA.
Pinkel auf dich.
Mein Hut hat drei Ecken.
Der Kaiser ist ein Arschloch.
Ja.
Oh, I know Duma Me in Vietnamese. I don't even want to say it.
Deinen kommt von meiner Schulter.
Okay.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, I thought you were saying I come from Minnesota.
No, but
That's what it sounded like.
von meiner Schulter ist Birnen not ist there. I'm trying to remember the second line to the song, but it's one of my favorite German songs. And it's called Bonnie and Clyde, and it's basically about Bonnie and Clyde, and they're doing a heist, and he was like, and it's basically, put your head on my shoulder. It's nice to feel it there, and we'll play Bonnie and Clyde. So yeah, like it's just a German song that I really enjoy. Another one is Kleidos Rosen, Dress of Roses, and one of the lines is Meister, Meister, give mir Rosen, Rosen, on mein weißes Kleid, steckt die Blumen in den Blusen, unbeirrten Mädchenleid. And it's she basically runs away from her family and the man she was promised to, or betrothed to, and she stops in front of a guy where she sees someone stinging pictures in flesh, basically tattooing. And she stops in front of the house and gets on her knees and says, Master, Master, give me roses, roses on my white dress. Sting the flowers into the untouched girl or virgin girl's body. But yeah, Kleidos Rosen. It's a good song. It's really great.
I've never seen a mini iron like that.
Yeah, it's so great. Chris just got it for me today, and it's perfect. And I don't have to worry about it getting knocked over and burning my son. He got a little burn on his arm when he was fucking around with the dog over here, and he bumped this. And well, it's pretty sturdy. Like it does wobble a bit, and the big heavy iron, even though it was lying down on the plate here, on the silicone mat, he basically bumped it and he hit it hard enough that it jumped sideways and it clipped his arm. I got it off right away and I put burn cream on there, and he's fine. It's like
Hans,
a centimeter long, but
to answer Hans, we took the train.
Mm-hmm. The Germans had a very good railroad.
Like honestly, I like Swedish a little bit better than German. Like it has a similar feel to German, but it's softer. It's like nicer. So like pillow talk and like, nice words from a German sound angry. Like fick dich is fuck you. And ich liebe dich is I love you. And like fuck you sounds a little bit nicer than I love you, at least to me. In German. So
in German, even I love you sounds like a threat.
It does. But Michael's actually half German. He spent a lot of his childhood there, army brat. So he went to school in elementary school in Germany.
I actually used to be quite good at German when I was. We had to learn it at school, but the only German I know now is just from that one particular song. I've got nothing.
Tannenbaum,
Oh, I know that one. That's a good one. Yeah, I forgot about that one. So I know 2 songs, but the most famous one is. I'm not going to sing. Don't worry. That would be a copyright strike. Hast du etwas sein für mich, dann sich ein Lied für dich von 99 Luftballons.
Yep.
I
That's
feel
what I was thinking of.
some horizon, thanks to flight. No, damn it! I must not do this.
In French, I know C'est la merde. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I think I am. C'est la merde.
Oh, I so wish this was not live. I really want a singing party.
You should sing Should I Stay or Should I Go? Because that song's half in Spanish.
Oh, can you do that one?
Yeah, but it's just a screaming copyright strike. Just like your I'm sure the computer speaks German and Spanish as well. And not just
around Christmas. I always want to sing Feliz Navidad. And I actually know the words to that song.
So there's a really cool version called Police Towed My Car. And it's about a guy who got a DUI. Police towed my car. And half of it's Spanish. But it's about a guy who got a DUI.
So my uncle went to Mexico on vacation, and he basically started going on and on about police knock me down.
Yeah.
That is so not. Oh
And
my
he
gosh!
asked me
No.
in high school to ask my Spanish teacher how to say "no body cavity searches, please" in Spanish.
Okay, anyone know Chinese?
Which to me, honestly, that seems like you're just gonna get searched at that point. If you say "no body cavity searches," I think they're gonna do a body cavity search on you.
Well, maybe it's a fetish.
Who knows?
Yeah, I saw one of these videos, of one of these Karens in the store making a big stink about the mask and all this stuff. And she got to the point that the cop handcuffed her and was trying to put her in the back of the squad car, and she was fighting it. But she had the biggest smile on her face. It was clear that being manhandled by a guy in uniform was her fetish.
Ew.
That probably thought she could get her 15 minutes of fame from the fucking Republicans.
I could just tell she was getting a sexual turn on from the cop trying to stuff her into the car.
Some people, I've told the story about the toe sucker. People have weird fetishes.
I like being tied up, and I like being bitten. I don't judge people as long as what you're doing is with consenting adults. Do boo? Do them too.
Exactly.
Yeah. The thing is, as long as both people involved know that this is a sexual thing going on, that's with the cop, that was kind of a non-consensual thing because the cop's just trying to do his job. He's not doing this as foreplay.
True, but you can't really control when you get aroused. I mean, there are actually cases of women that have climaxed during sexual assault, and it's not because they enjoyed it. It's just the mechanical. So, some things you just can't help, and I wouldn't blame, it on the person. Maybe she was just an asshole and didn't realize that she was going to get her jollies off of the cop. If there was no, premeditation there, then I would just say, well, she learned something about herself. But
Yeah,
that's
well,
me. I
see,
think
even
the
that
kids are
part,
figured
it's
out.
like the premeditation thing I have to kind of wonder about, because obviously the scene she was making in the store, she had to know at some point they were going to call the police.
They might have thought she was going to be on their side, though. A lot of Karens have thought that the cops would come down and tell the businesses off for not letting them in the store without a mask. Like, how many Karen
Here.
videos did we see in the past year where they thought that they were in the right, that they had, basically, they had what's the word? Not
Entitlement.
privilege. Entitlement, thank you. They had the entitlement to the store and to shop at the store, and it's like, no, homie, you guys are all about the free market and capitalism and businesses being able to discriminate against people when it's gay people, but when it's you people,
Yep.
like all of a sudden it's up in arms.
They that it goes back to the bake the cake argument. Like everybody was arguing about a cake a couple years ago. Oh, the business has a right, and now that they don't want to wear a mask, that argument can be used right back on them.
And I do. But then they say, oh, well, it's religious rights. It's like, no, it's public
Bullshit.
safety and health rights. You don't have a religious right to wear a mask unless you want to don a hijab. I mean, hey, if you want to don a hijab and a veil, like, cool.
I do
It's
not
close
have
enough
the
to a
right.
mask.
I do not have the right to go around punching people, stabbing, and hurting people.
Mhm.
You
Well-
don't have the right to put other people's lives at risk.
Right. That's the thing they missed about the mask, is that you do not have a right to be risking someone else's health.
I have that right. I'm a cop.
I can't like get in the car and tell my son like, oh, hey, don't wear a seatbelt, smoke a cigar, like drink a beer. No, there's rules and etiquette to life. We have agreed upon certain things.
You
And
want to live in a society, you have to follow the rules that society sets.
Yep.
Full
And I don't
stop.
agree with everything.
That's the whole essence of the rugged individualism that Rush Limbaugh introduced back when he first started. The whole concept is that I am an individual. I have my personal freedoms, and I can do whatever I want as long as I'm not hurting anything, even if it is inconvenient to the other people, because that's not a constitution.
Okay, but winner, chicken dinner. You said if it's not hurting somebody else, if somebody has the virus, they could kill me if they're not wearing a mask.
And
Yeah,
here's the
but
thing: you
that
want to
doesn't-
believe in that? You want to
That
believe
doesn't
in the
count.
rugged Sorry.
For them, hurting somebody means that you're physically killing them at the moment. That they don't see the future. They don't see the consequences of action.
They're very short-sighted.
It's only
Look at
Very
how they handle climate
short-sighted.
change.
instantaneous.
Even
Yeah, look how they're
yesterday.
handling climate change. But no, what I was going to say is like the rugged individualism argument of, I can do whatever I want. It's like, okay, well, Rush Limbaugh had enough money that he could buy his own private island. If he wants to run around in the nude, not wearing a mask for the end of his days, popping oxys like it's going out of style, like, dude, do you. Like, you have the money to be able to do stuff like that. So go do that and stop fucking with other people that don't have the money to go live on their own island away from idiot people like you.
I want that island so much. Purple, can we get that island, please?
Oh, here we go.
I want that island.
I would love my own island too.
I
if I'm
want
being
one.
honest.
See, but the problem
will-
is that
I will make
Stool
compromises.
Stool
make
wants his own
compromises.
island because it's in his blood to rule over people and tell people what to do.
Okay. I cannot afford my own island. So I have an alternate plan that we can make our own island, and anyone is invited. They just must contribute at least 50,000 Lego pieces to the construction.
Oh, done. I could do that real quick. I got my kid's tub. I got admission for 2 people.
My
See,
son's
and
Lego,
we'll-
but can I contribute in like making stuff like curtains?
But having a private island is a misnomer, and really, it's foolishness. It's because if you got a private island, you have to have everything brought to you, so you are bound to have to deal with society.
Well, once a month. When I lived in Oregon, there's real life mountain people that would come off the mountain once a month. They'd spend like $700 at Walmart and then crawl right back up to the middle of nowhere wherever they lived, you know.
I have a
like you
slight,
have out in
I have a
Washington
slight,
State.
I've got a slight flaw with Jenny's analysis there. Because what you don't know is that secretly, I'm Elon Musk.
You made a mask that looks exactly like you.
Yeah, it was a shit mask. Sorry.
Why would you do that?
It was one of those shit masks that Kitty sold me. I got it for $2. I thought it was a bargain.
Now, there is a very good strategy to having a mask like that. You know, because if you really are like as wealthy as Elon Musk, if you want to go out in public, you've got to have something to wear that people won't pay any attention to you.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you at least upgrade the likability of the mask and choose, say, Bigfoot?
So if you're really Elon Musk, get out of California. No one wants you. You don't pay your employees enough.
Now, wait. This is kind of making sense now. If he's Elon Musk, it would make sense of why all the tunnels were such an important idea for his island.
And you know what? Elon Musk is gonna.
I do like tunnels.
He's gonna ruin California even more because we had this high-speed rail proposal. They spent millions of dollars. They knocked down mountains, and then the project went bust. So Elon Musk basically bought the rights to it, and he's going to put a maglev train between San Francisco and LA, which is impossible because of the mountains. So he's going to do an engineering feat that no one's been able to do ever. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, that's what he's always promoting, is that he can do engineering feats that no one's ever done. But yeah, most of his plans just don't seem to really have the research behind them.
His roof shingle. What do you call? What would you call it? He's got a shingling system that is photovoltaics, and it's basically one giant solar collector for the entire roof of your house. And people kind of laughed at that. Well, it's starting to sell really well.
His house batteries his house batteries are popular here too. It's not rare to walk in someone's backyard and their house is being powered by his batteries. It's not rare.
But they're not his
batteries.
The
Tesla, the Tesla stuff, and the battery stuff he's been working on, he has been, it's not really anything new. It's not a new technology.
It's not new.
Because of his marketing, he is increasing the demand enough to bring the prices down.
It's not new, and it's not his stuff. He hasn't. I hate to bring you like a memo or breaking news. He hasn't invented this shit. He just pays other people.
Well, he's the modern day Edison.
Yeah, that's exactly what Thomas Edison did. That, he didn't invent anything himself. He would say, hey, here's an interesting concept. Make this work. And he would go on doing the promotion while he left, a team of guys to figure out the details on how to make it work.
And
Nikola
Tesla got shafted. He got shafted by Edison.
A lot of people did.
Lots of folks.
I'm going to get so annoyed now. Right. That Elon person hasn't invented or imagined anything in his life. All he's done is said, here's some money, put my name on it. He's invented shit all. He's not an inventor. He really
kind
is.
of like Trump, honestly, in that regard. Here's my name, put it on shit. Trump milk, Trump bottled water, Trump vodka.
He is an engineer and has had input on the development of stuff, to get the ball rolling. Has he sat there and figured out the details of how this circuit board works and creates this operation and the device that they're built? No, of course not. No, nobody does that. Teams of hundreds of people do that.
Yeah. So stop worshiping him. Just
He was
stop
a hands-on
praying to him.
guy. In fact, that was one of the complaints about him at Tesla, is that he was too hands-on and driving everybody nuts. so,
Yeah.
So the
And that's it. It's not bad what he does, of just financing projects and getting other people to work on ideas. There's nothing wrong with that in itself. The thing that I don't like is, the hype he gets around some of these projects, that there's no practical way to get them to work, and he keeps pushing them for years and years.
Or when he's being an edgelord fucking douche nozzle and calling people trying to save kids' lives a fucking pedophile. Like, that's a thing
exactly.
that happened.
Yeah, that's a thing that happened.
He is a weird beard. I'm not saying that he's
let's just be honest about this. He's a C word who got lucky. He invented a thing that we all use called PayPal. He made a lot of money.
There you go.
He made a shit ton of money, and now everybody worships him because they think he's invented a tunnel.
But that goes
pretty
back
sure we invented tunnels already.
That goes back to what we were saying, though, is that he got the life lotto.
He
got the life lotto.
Stark.
Yeah, but even Tony Stark got the life lotto. Like, they were, in America or South Africa, where he's from, he was born into it. Same thing here.
Oh, I'm so bored with this. He invented PayPal. End of. That's all there is to him.
Enough money off of it to be able to start funding a bunch of other things that seem to be fantasies at one point. I mean,
I agree.
The man has created a company that can land a fucking rocket ship within 10 feet of its intended target.
Yeah,
and
no,
half of LA. Okay,
he's not created a company that can do that.
Half of Los Angeles is solar because of Tesla. Is what I'm trying to tell you as somebody who who has seen it with their own two eyes. Like, they have a monopoly on the solar game on this side of town, which is 10 million people just in my county alone. That's just LA County.
Yeah. Even SpaceX is largely a scam. It's
a scam.
It's recycled technology that was already available. And the whole idea of the reusable rockets, he was promoting this idea that, people could use these rockets instead of planes to fly from coast to coast, because they can land the rocket and refuel it and set it off again in a couple hours. And it's like, no, they're nowhere near that, because after one of these things has flown, it basically needs to be completely rebuilt before it can be used again. Well, it can't be fueled up and ready to go in hours. It's a couple of months between flights.
And the first Model T, people froze their asses on, got wet if it rained, had mud on them constantly, and they only worked half the time. And now look at what cars are. Give the time to evolve.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that so far he hasn't put anything new into the rockets, really.
Well, I disagree with that, too. He's using materials and methods of construction.
No. Here's the thing. You keep saying he.
Yeah.
He's done nothing.
That's not true.
Oh,
he stands there and micromanages.
No, all he's done is said, here's some money. Here's my name. That's all he's done. He's not invented anything ever in his life.
When you stand there and you're the guy who says, let's try this, and then everybody tries that, you did something.
That's literally not how this thing is.
Steve Jobs came
that's
up
literally not how this happened.
Let's take the cell phone, which already existed, and let's do this and this and this and this to it, and see if we don't improve it. And then they created smartphones.
That's not what
Blueberry, whatever those things were stupid damn phones that were a pain in the ass to use and barely had any capabilities whatsoever except for text.
There is a huge difference between Steve Jobs, who was a hands-on person who had a vision and ideas.
Yeah.
Compared, and I'm not mocking that. He was a visionary, but Elon Musk is just a cunt with money. He doesn't think of anything. He just gives people money and says, "Put my name on it."
Say that shit. You don't know the man.
You just described
him to say that kind of shit.
You just described every other person where I'm from, because this is the land of heartless business people. Like honestly, in a business dealing, I'm heartless. When it comes to money, I am ruthless. I would, rule of acquisition number 83. I would sell my mom, but she sold me first. I'm a Ferengi. So
There are people
to judge someone like that, I don't know if it's fair. That's all I'm saying.
Will, closest to the screen. Come on, move up. I'm going to touch you just here.
You're doing that palmy thing again. You're doing that thing where you guys are so instruction driven. I'm an American, man. I like to run out with my flag tied around my neck. Nothing else on.
I need Ferengi porn. Come on, move closer. Touch me here, Will.
No, you're doing that palmy thing again. You are. You don't worry. Critical Cripple does it too. Jeff does it too. You guys are very directional. You tell people what to do. It's in your blood. I'm an American. It's like it's in me to tell people to F off.
Would you like to touch my ears?
No, the last time I licked a man's ear, I had to get a restraining order on him. And that's a true story.
There are people on this planet.
Wait a minute. You licked his ear and got a restraining order on him. It sounds like I should have gone the other way about.
People can't hang, and then they get addicted. You know, I'm a bad drug, and then they get narcissistic and controlling.
There are people on this planet who actually think that
men are scary.
Who actually think that Elon Musk invented the electric car. Think about that. That's not a real thing.
Well, don't blame Elon Musk.
Yeah, you can't hold Elon Musk for other people being uninformed.
Yeah, but I think we're not giving the engineers enough credit. There's people who work for him that are doing cutting edge stuff. That you shouldn't just throw out the entire company because he's an a-hole. He's actually doing some Star Trek stuff. Unfortunately, the person who's in charge of it is a complete a-hole. We've seen this episode. Janeway and Chakotay saved the day.
Yeah, and like I said, sorry, go ahead, Jenny.
I'm just agreeing with Will that the guy's an asshole. He's a cunt. He treats women like shit. He treats a lot of things like shit, but he gets the job done. And
unfortunately.
Okay, yeah, I think we're reaching a consensus here that, that's what I was saying, that there isn't anything inherently wrong with what he's doing, that he is putting money behind things, he is getting ideas going. It's just,
The biggest problem with Elon Musk is that he also grew up and got into what he does at a time when people are hypercritical and interested in tearing down the heroes as much as they possibly can, which has always been a human trait, is to have the hero and then tear him down. But it's gotten so much worse now. We do this, and I don't understand why. Bill Gates, everybody hates Steve Jobs, everybody hates Elon Musk, and these people have shaped our world.
Okay, so I want to say something too, and this is more of a personal thing.
With that so much.
This is more of a personal thing. The aerospace industry, because it's booming right now, it has changed at least 3 desert towns that I could think of. So they went from having no economy to NASA putting a hangar in their town, and now everyone has jobs. People are being educated, and they're helping people. And unfortunately, SpaceX and Tesla do the same thing out in the middle of nowhere in California to these little Dust Bowl towns. They say, hey, we're going to put a rocket out here. We're going to teach you how to maintain it, and you guys are all going to get paid. So it's bringing money to people who don't have any. At least in California, these people are heavy employers.
That's fine. Okay, in California, maybe he brings employment into the area.
But besides Northern California, he's helped out poor people.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. That's a good thing. But if you look where he's doing his experiments in Shitsville, Bumsville, wherever it is, Phil, What is he doing to those people?
He's
Look
giving
into that. Look
no, I
into that
agree with you.
fucker.
No, I agree with you, but he's giving jobs to people in those towns. There's a couple of towns, because I don't want to say it, but there's a couple of towns where NASA, JPL, all kinds of new facilities are going out in the middle of the desert, and it's because of people, unfortunately, like Elon Musk, because he's lighting a fire under NASA and these other companies, so they're trying to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bringing jobs to desert towns out in the middle of nowhere here, to towns that desperately need money here.
He really
And it's not just Tesla, it's other companies. But the aerospace industry in general has revitalized certain parts of Southern California.
Well, and one of the things, though, one of the reasons that like SpaceX can actually do the rocket launches cheaper than NASA is because, you know, NASA was trying to hold to the strictest safety standards. They didn't want people to get killed.
Yeah.
SpaceX is willing to put up with a 10 or 15% failure rate.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes a huge difference in the amount of quality control and the amount of rejected materials you have.
Yeah, you can do things cheaper if you're willing to not abide by the laws and regulations. And the Muskie person has a track record of not giving a shit about regulations.
Yeah, and
so
part of the reason the Teslas have been doing so well and the price of the batteries have come down is because no one in the U.S. wants to look at what they're doing in Africa to mine the lithium.
Exactly, or how long those people are not living.
Or you could look at Bumblesbill, whatever town it was called, where he went against and killed about a million wildlife species to do tests for his rocket. You're not going to see that on your TV. And the people who are in charge of these things in your country, I don't know what they're called, the environmental people and whatever, said, no, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. And he said, yeah, fuck you, I'm going to do it.
An agency. That's what it's called.
He said, fuck you, I'm going to do it. And by the way, I'm going to stick notices on all the windows of people's houses. By the way, your windows might blow out. He's a cunt. He really is a cunt. But you only get to see the good things.
And this is the downside of the runaway capitalism in the U.S., or one of the downsides, is that huge corporations would rather just thumb their nose at the regulations, and if they have to pay $100,000 in fines, that's no big deal to them.
Oh, look at Nestle. It is known that Nestle is going to come into wherever you live, take your water, and literally sell it back to you. So they just go from state to state. Yep. They go overseas. They go wherever they can, and they just take the water. And no one cares.
Stop. That's inappropriate.
Yeah. They should be completely. I don't think people understand. And Camilla Harris isn't completely for blame, but it was under her watch. Nestle came in and literally put Southern California into a drought and then sold us our water. I hate Hot Pockets because of that.
Well, and Nestle is doing the same thing now in Michigan. They're just figuring with the Great Lakes, nobody's going to notice.
Wisconsin stood up to Nestle.
So they went to Michigan, the state next door.
We literally had to wait for an administration to leave to kick them out. And magically, we don't have we don't have to conserve every other day like we used to, because Nestle's not here taking our water.
This was a wonderful topic, Purple, and I think we had a heated debate, and we disagreed, but we're all still friends, aren't we? So that was a good.
I actually like
conversation.
The whole Elon Musk discussion, and that like I say, at the end, we seem to have kind of come to a middle ground consensus there.
I'm still not sure about this will guy.
I think we underestimate innovation, and it's not always pretty. People die. How many people died testing penicillin or certain drugs? Let's say, how many drugs did we lie and test on people? Tuskegee. How many, like, you know?
Even recently, I had a surgery after my son was born, and it was a type of sterilization surgery called a short. Basically, they put these little metal tubes in my fallopian tubes to trigger scar tissue to form up to basically block the eggs from getting from my ovaries where they could be fertilized. A lot of women have been having issues with this particular procedure. And about 6 months after I had it done, I got a black box warning from the FDA, and then I got pulled off the market because the company was actually lying to the FDA, and they were actually changing documents like that people were submitting about it because they were supposed to do, essentially they let them rush it to market, and then they're like, all right, you got to give 5 years of data where you follow up with each patient that has it, and they were fudging that data.
Oh, wow.
So now I have an issue with my uterus, and essentially between that and the fact that my endometrial ablation has failed, I am 34 and I need a hysterectomy to stop me not feeling like Freddy Krueger is shredding my uterus.
My mom had a total hysterectomy around 36, 7, 8, somewhere.
It's hard to find a doctor in this day that will do it, especially since I only have one child.
I had an ex-girlfriend.
They're still fucking misogynistic about it. Like, you should be shitting out kids until once you hit close to 40, then they'll do the hysterectomy, and it's not an issue. But being in my early 30s, like, I found out about this problem, and I started having a huge issue with it. Like, it had been slowly getting worse, where if I turn certain ways, I actually can feel the metal poking into me. And like heavy bleeding. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, I had bleeding that lasted for 3 weeks. That's why I went to the doctor in the first place, from my birthday on December 19th until essentially a week after New Year's. And then it came back even stronger, and I've been dealing with a lot of the fallout from it, and it's still an elective procedure, and while I could probably maybe find a doctor that wouldn't care about COVID to do it, I don't want to go into a hospital for a procedure while we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Like, it's not going to kill me, most likely. I mean, if it shreds me, like, then I could have internal bleeding, and that would be bad. But regardless, like, it's an issue that I need fixed. But finding a doctor willing to do the surgery that takes my insurance it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a real challenge.
It's like that's like IUDs. For those who don't know, those are intrauterine devices, and they're these various structures with unusual shapes that are implanted in a woman's uterus to basically not allow the placenta to establish on the walls of the uterus, and they did not work well in the 60s and 70s when they were introduced. They killed women. They caused all kinds of infections. They were just totally problematic. And it took court battles and lawsuits and shit to get the companies to cease and desist, to quit building these damn things. And they get the truth out to women, and women got them removed. Yes, there was a percentage of women where they worked just fine and were not problematic, but it was not worth the risk of how badly it damaged other women.
They have new ones on the market now.
Those things are back today. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, oh no, we've re-engineered, and they might have slightly different materials and stuff like that, but there's still ones that are just made out of the copper that were used before. The design,
and they were giving people poisoning
exactly like they did in the 70s. So the design hasn't changed much. And now we're starting to get reports of them doing the same fucking thing as they did back then.
Mostly the only difference between the ones now and the ones in the 70s is the ones now are generally made out of plastic.
Well, they were a lot of them were plastic then too. But anyways, you know, how many times do people have to get used as
Yeah,
guinea
but if
pigs?
anyone's
corporations.
curious,
And particularly
if
women.
anyone's curious, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, if anyone's curious, the procedure that I had for sterilization, it's called Essure, ESSURE. And you can look to see that there was actually a lawsuit about how they were fudging information being sent to the FDA. And then the endometrial ablation I had was NovaSure, and about 25 to 30% of women end up having it fail. And when it does, if it fails badly, the only recourse is a hysterectomy,
I
which
heard
I'm
about
fine with.
that.
I don't care about my uterus. Like, I'm fine with it going away, especially since the
Oh.
shredding Freddy Krueger fingers will stop as well. But ultimately,
Doc is still here. Doc, sorry.
I'm here.
You weren't here for the great debate about Elon Musk. Oh dear.
I was here.
My bad.
Doc, you sound great.
He does sound very sexy. He does. So is this a segue, or is this a continuation of the Elon Musk? I kind of need a break. What do I do? Have we
Well, I
gone
think
from
you
Elon
need to
Musk?
onto a whole new topic there.
Yeah,
Have we
I
gone
thought
from
we had
Elon
another
Musk
topic.
into Kitty's inner bits? I don't know.
medical issues.
Well,
I
you know,
need
It's
more
basically
info.
the FDA
Hobbit
lying about
is-
medicine. That was the point I was making, is the FDA will lie about, or I should say the FBI doesn't lie, companies lie to the FDA. I should clarify.
Yeah.
The FDA is lied to by companies. Sorry, my brain's not working on all cylinders.
Well, and unfortunately, the drug companies have developed an increased influence over the FDA over the years.
Yeah.
That they're not as independent as they used to be.
I mean,
It's very
like
difficult for me
spreading
to
the-
get into this kind of conversation because you guys have the American shit, and obviously I'm British, so yeah, it's a difficult one for me.
Okay.
I will never. I'm not saying I'm stupid. I understand how your system works. I get it. I understand it. But whilst I understand it, I will never understand it.
That's
You get
okay.
what I'm
Most
saying?
people
why
in
they
this
have
country don't
sway is
either.
lobbyist money.
It's
It
like
literally
quantum
comes
physics.
down to money. Money
It's
and politics.
voodoo. I mean,
Yeah, well-
this is one of the weirdest and most sad things about your country.
What
Don't-
happens?
Don't hate me when I say this. Please don't hate me. Obviously, you've got the thing with the guns, and you've got the thing with the healthcare. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, what's happened with the FDA is that the drug companies give a lot of lobbying money, to things like Trump's campaign. And then after they get elected, they tell them that, okay, why don't you put somebody we like as head of this organization?
Mm-hmm.
or we could be just like Britain, and we could put state sponsored and police monitored cameras on every corner and watch everything that everybody does all the time.
Yeah, because that's a real thing that really happens.
Actually, if you live in the London area, you are on camera.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
really that different in the US now.
That's
Although-
a totally real thing.
Yeah.
No, Vegas is the same way. It's known that if you were anywhere in Las Vegas, you are on camera.
Yeah. More and more in major cities in the US that you're on camera somewhere. The only difference is that the government doesn't own the cameras. When a crime happens, they have to go to the businesses in the area and ask for the recordings.
I love telling the story how there was so much bootlegging going on in downtown LA. Disney spent millions buying out buildings and putting in cameras and ratting on all the bootleggers. So imagine $1 million, $1 billion trillion company cracking down on some guy in a wheelchair selling bootleg DVDs and CDs, you know? And
I'm very.
they don't play.
I've got to say this. I'm very disappointed in certain people on this panel because I'm getting the feeling that you're falling for bullshit.
Okay,
If you're
no, but how did they catch that the terrorist that was on the bridge? How did they have literal footage from the time he steps out of his door, gets on the motorcycle? How did I know he was on a motorcycle? Because I saw the footage. They show him stabbing people all the way till he gets to the bridge. They had him on camera the entire time. I'm gonna look that up now.
I don't need to look it up. I'll live here. So do you think it's weird that there would be CCTV looking at the Houses of Parliament? Do you find that weird? Oh, let me guess. Hang on a second. The next thing you're going to say is we have no-go zones. Is that the next thing you're going to say?
No, there's no such thing. If you live in that area, you're on camera. It's just that simple. It's the same thing in America. If I go in certain areas, I'm on camera. I know it.
You're kind of repeating bullshit. Not you personally.
Just in my neighborhood, perfect example. Just in my neighborhood, I think there's only one house that doesn't have at least a 4-camera security system.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the UK because I don't really know over there. But yeah, major cities in the US, if a crime happens, the police just go to the buildings in the area and ask for their security footage. You know, and that's how they solve a lot of cases these days. That's how they have the pictures to put up online to see if anybody can identify the person who committed the crime.
Well, that makes no sense to me because apparently London, which most people in the UK don't live in, by the way, has lots of cameras.
It does.
But Purple just said that you can solve a crime by somebody having 4 cameras in the house.
Well, you're twisting together what Will and I said and adding something of your own there.
So even in recent, to make it semi-funny, we had a mystery pooper. And my neighbors went from house to house like, hey, can I look at your camera? And they found the person who didn't pick up their dog's poop. And then they went and found that person and said, hey, you're a scumbag. So because we all had cameras, that person, they lied and said it didn't happen, but I had it on camera that it did. You know?
Yet, do you not get where I'm coming from here? Because you're repeating a trope that the UK has, and we're all monitored and we've got all these cameras watching us.
Okay, and I specifically said I'm not speaking for the UK because I don't know about it over there. I'm only talking about what I know about cities in the US.
I will argue that we are all on camera all the time. We are tracked if you have anything you put online, if you swipe a card. It's inevitable. You can't hide in today's world unless you move out to the woods and don't speak to anyone and have no internet connection.
Hey, where I'm living, I know it for a fact that just walking from where I park my car to getting into my apartment, I pass at least 6 cameras.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I'm trying to think of somewhere where they don't have security cameras, at least here in America.
I'm trying my best here to have an argument because that's what I do. I hate this trope. I really hate this trope.
Okay, so Jeff,
that Americans say, where they say, UK are the most monitored people. Hi, Jeff. UK are the most monitored peoples ever. It's
but look
not
at what Jeff just
thing.
wrote. Look at what Jeff just wrote. Those statistics are the same for here. Everybody's got we all have cameras.
It's a meaningless thing.
No, but what I'm saying is
Big
Brother is watching. We
we
are at war with Oceania. We've always been at war with Oceania.
For real. That's my whole point. And I'm not kidding you. It was scary. Like the whole London stabbing with the guy in the bridge, it was awful. But it was kind of creepy to me that they had footage from the time. And people were asking, like, if you guys had pre-existing knowledge that this man was going to do this, why didn't you stop him? But they had footage of the guy from the time he left his house until he went and did what he did.
After the event.
Well, but how did they know he was going to do it at any given time?
Go
After
back
the
and watch
event-
the footage. Go back and watch.
After-
We can argue about it all we want, but the
No,
cameras.
I'm trying to get
Well-
information because I'm not familiar with this. If
Well,
they're
the
finding
cameras.
that,
Well,
how did they know he was going to do something bad that day?
I think he
Exactly.
was a radicalized human being.
Okay, but
No.
he's been hanging around and been on camera for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how many people here are under
Why is
surveillance?
this so difficult?
Okay,
Well, Jenny's got a completely valid point there.
what I'm
A
getting
very
at,
valid
on any
point.
given day,
Let Jenny talk.
on any given day, and this is my own philosophy I made up. The right always likes to say, what we need is a good guy with a gun that'll protect us. Well, up until the moment the guy pulled the trigger, he was a good guy with a gun.
Exactly.
Okay, and you don't know when that moment is going to occur. Some people may be more blatant and get themselves on camera that they're packing M16s or shit on their motorcycle, and they're going to come and make a mess of things. And going to take an hour to get there, and the police would have time to say, "Oh my gosh, look at that!" And then, why would we be watching that guy in particular that day?
Exactly.
It's
You're not being monitored in real time.
Yourself again.
CCTV footage is what you look at after the event. If a bad thing happens, then the police come along and say, "Hello, can we look at your footage?" And then they go to another place and say, "Hello, can we look at your footage?" You're not being monitored 24/7.
Okay, but your own government calls it a proactive counterterrorism operation. So what do you call that? We're using all these fancy words to skirt around the fact that you're being monitored, and
We're not
that's
being
all of us.
monitored. Oh, for
Well, yeah,
fuck's
you
sake.
are. The definition of
Oh
being
my gosh.
monitored is that you're being followed, that you're being recorded, that you're going their attention of what you're doing. Whether or not somebody's actually looking at it at that moment doesn't mean anything. It's being saved. It's there.
Even right now, like there's algorithms that track everything I do. What was it? I went on Twitter and they were trying to sell me something I was woofing about earlier. I can't even remember what it is now.
Stool, I completely agree with your point. There isn't anybody watching most of this footage.
There's nobody watching it.
Most of the stuff is probably, put in storage, and, when they run out of memory, the stuff's erased after a month or so.
No, that's not even how it works. It's deleted after 7 days.
Okay. I don't know the time period. It depends on how much memory you got.
So-
I'm agreeing with you, Stool, that, nobody is going to look at this stuff unless there happens to be a crime committed on that street and the police start an investigation and ask to see the footage.
Correct.
So I'm constantly woofing about flags and stuff like that. And look, I didn't type this in one time, and they're trying to sell me flags on YouTube. You're being monitored, but it's a computer it's literally tracking you because they want to sell you stuff. They don't want to kill you. They want to sell you stuff. There's a difference. We are consumers. What do we produce? Nothing. What do we make? Nothing. We are consumers. So the only thing that they have is us. That's why they're killing each other to buy our information. That's why it's important, because we buy.
Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you, though.
No, I
But
agree.
yes, consumers are useless to our economy if they're dead. Consumers
Exactly.
need to be consuming. If you kick it, then you're no longer able to feed the fucking cogs of the great capitalist machine.
And as far as services like, Facebook and Twitter and all these websites you get on, I think Adam Conover put it perfectly that if a service is free, you are the product. If they're giving you a free service, the only way that they're financing that is by selling your information to some company who thinks they're going to make money off of it.
Yes.
Jeff makes a very good point there. If you honestly believe that the British government, if you like, are monitoring us, then you're fucking deluded. Cameras record things. Nobody's sat there watching us going.
That's my whole point. But at any
Yeah.
moment, someone can go and get that information and use it against you.
Well, and that's,
They
you know, by
really
saying
can.
about even the building I live in, there's cameras in all the corridors, you know, all the public areas, you know, and there is not anybody who's going to watch most of this.
I have no
It's
faith.
only if an incident occurs that the building manager is going to go and look at, you know, the video from that time
Yeah,
period
yeah.
on that camera.
I have
Also-
no faith, so I don't trust. I don't trust much. So that's just
Okay.
a good policy.
Also, I'm in the UK and we have laws, and I had to learn about these laws. I will definitely tell you there are laws about what you can do with a camera, what you can do with it, what you can record, how long you have to keep it. There are laws, so we are not being monitored. Trust
Okay.
me on this.
On the
Wasn't
plus
there a guy
side,
that was using a camera to look up ladies' skirts, or like,
yeah,
you know, I vaguely remember hearing something about that.
I
like,
saw something
a
about
long
that
while
online. That
ago.
yeah, there was a guy who, you know, had fixed a small camera to the toe of his shoe.
Oh, there's a huge number of men who do that. That's a well-known version. There's websites that all they do is deal in upskirt videos that they trade.
Yeah,
That was another lovely heated debate. That's 2 we've done where we didn't all agree. So this is cool.
yeah. Well,
Easy
you know,
now,
and on the plus side of the cameras, you know, like I say, they're all over this building. But because the cameras are out in the open and people see them everywhere, we don't have any problems with packages disappearing. Because, you know, if UPS says they deliver a package and the person doesn't get it, the building manager can tell you who walked away with it.
Exactly. And I have a Ring, and UPS now they take a picture of the package and touch your Ring, like, to let you know, like, hey, I'm here. You know.
It's really cool. I want one of those. Like, I really do.
It saves me a lot of drama from having to go to the front door until people of certain religions I don't believe in. Respectfully, I don't believe what you believe. Please go away.
Well, that's another advantage to a security building, that these people can't get to my front door.
If you ever want to tell me, I know it's easy these days because we can all stick a thing on a door. That's not being monitored. That's just a child's toy. But if you ever want me to tell you how difficult the paperwork is to install CCTV, I will tell you, because I know. I've been there and I've done it.
What
You
is
cannot monitor people. You really can't.
Okay, well, that's a difference between your country and our country. Is around here, if you want to put up cameras on your house, there's nothing to stop you. There's no paperwork. You don't need anyone's approval.
Nope. I
Yeah.
have a camera pointing directly across the street at my neighbor's house and at the end of the cul-de-sac. Your rights kind of end at the end of your driveway.
There have
The only
even been
time I'm
cases
seeing
in
you-
court.
Privacy in the public realm.
Even recently, I thought my neighbor was BSing, but he went and had to get a mini pilot's license for his drone, and it's legal for him to fly over people's backyards.
Yep. Yeah,
'Cause I
you
told
don't own the airspace above your own house.
Yeah, because I told him I'm going to shoot it, and he showed me the paperwork, and I was like, "Wow, you really aren't BSing, are you?" Because I really was going to shoot it.
Well,
Here's
you
the
know,
thing,
and
like,
there have even been cases in court that people had cameras set up that looked in somebody else's window. And the court ruled that there wasn't anything wrong with that.
that's what I
That
was
as long as the camera was on their private property,
they ruled
what it was seeing wasn't their problem.
There's a big difference between nothing illegal about it and nothing wrong with it. There's a lot
Agreed.
wrong with it. There's nothing
Yeah.
illegal.
Oh, no, I agree with
That's
you.
what we have politicians. We have politicians that won't do anything about it. You go to some states where there have been efforts to outlaw upskirting, and the physicians won't. The politicians won't touch it. They won't. You mean it's okay to put a camera up a woman's skirt? You won't pass a law against that? Why? Explain to me why. Because you go to those sites and you buy those videos. Is that why?
Yeah.
Probably it's big business. Porn is a $1 billion industry.
Well,
Well,
This is
actually, it's
why-
probably worse than
Why
that
why don't they take our privacy seriously?
because it doesn't affect them.
Yes, but it does.
Because if they can afford a mansion with several, dozen acres around it
Exactly.
and keep everybody away, their privacy is not going to be affected.
So we were private citizens until the inception of the information era and the internet. It's kind of impossible to hide. If you want to live in society, you got to get a credit card. You got to buy a car. You have to have credit. You have to be
Okay.
traced.
Now, to be fair, it isn't the technology that did that.
Agreed.
Because the internet is because people are so addicted to the convenience that they voluntarily give up all their information.
Agreed. If I lost my phone, I'd be so effed. It's not even funny because my life is on my
School
phone.
had a hand up.
Can I do a thing, please?
Okay, what are you going to do?
There was a law passed in this country that I'm not fond of this word, upskirting. I think it's a dirty word. But we did pass a law in this country to make it illegal. And I don't know if Jeff is still inside chat. He could probably help me with this one. But there's one person who voted against it in the House of Lords, which is a weird thing to do. Kind of makes you think he's into that. But I'm fairly sure that in this country that a law has been passed, you can get seriously imprisoned or whatever for doing it. And that's a good thing, obviously.
That's like here in Los Angeles.
I think it's now
we
illegal.
had such a problem with men roofing women that people get life in prison for it now. And people and I'm not kidding you. There's you can look it up. A famous football player named Darren Sharper. He got put in jail for a long time for roofing a woman at a Santa Monica restaurant.
I think that's good because the only point the guy would ever do that for is to rape a woman.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
exactly.
It should be basically the same as being charged with rape.
And I love it because I see stories all the time where people. Well, this was pre-COVID, but people in LA, we look out for that. Like if someone gets up and goes to the bathroom and someone puts something in their drink, I've seen at least 4 or 5 stories where someone's been put in jail because the cops will show up.
My sister went out for drinks with her coworkers after work a while back, and she left her drink, next to her friend. Well, she went to go use the restroom, and somebody slipped something in it. And fortunately, it had a happy ending. She felt kind of crappy. She was driven home, and she slept it off in her own bed. So nothing bad happened, thankfully. But that story could have gone way different.
Well, nothing bad happened because she was there with a friend. If she had been there alone, it would have been a very different ending.
And her coworkers weren't fucking paying attention, and it's you would think coworkers would look out for each other, but the company she worked for at the time was Harley Davidson, and we've all seen with how they handled COVID. They don't care about their employees. Not only did dozens of people get COVID because they did not require a mask mandate for Bike Week, which they still had, by the way. They didn't provide PPE for the fucking workers, and after a bunch of people ended up in the hospital, including some that ended up in the ICU, they didn't contact them at all to see if they were okay. One woman spent, a couple weeks in the hospital, and it was just tragic. And then afterwards, my sister, even though she's been with the company over 10 years, she was the only one, aside from the new hires that have been hired in the last 6 months, to not get a raise. Everybody got bonuses and a raise except her, even though she'd been there for 10 years, because she spoke out saying that we should be doing more to protect our fucking workers. And it's really shitty.
Yeah, well, and that's a lot of what's going on now with Amazon, too. And Amazon is trying to prevent their workers from unionizing. with some really passive-aggressive threats. Oh, George got an interesting bit on that. That in Korea, it's illegal to turn off the click sound from your camera. So at least somebody would have some warning if somebody's using it inappropriately.
But if they're already looking up girls'
Shit,
skirts, are they really going to care about the law that says you have to have the click sound? I mean, some laws just, well,
Yep.
I get it, good intentions and everything. They're
Yeah.
useless.
Yeah. And doorknob head, yes, there's the same thing of guys just trying to take pictures down women's blouses.
And they're worried about transgender women. You know, it's oh, these assholes.
I would rather be in a shower with 100 trans men and women. I don't care. I'm in favor of unisex bathrooms, and like I see no issue with co-ed showers. I would rather be in a bathroom or a shower or a changing area with, like I said, 100 or 1,000, like all the trans people. It would get a little cramped, but all the trans people, as opposed to one fucking religious right-wing nut job that thinks that trans women aren't women and trans men aren't men.
Yep.
Well, maybe that's why they want to keep upskirting not illegal. It's, then they can find out who these people are.
Oh, Christopher Chope, yeah.
I'm not sure what a Tory is.
A Republican.
Okay. Yeah. Jeff says he
Yeah,
also blocked a bill to protect women against FGM. What's
Wow.
FGM?
female
Female
genital
genital
mutilation.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's abhorrent. But yeah, the Tories are essentially the British version of the Republicans here in the States. They're conservative, fucking austerity measures are a great thing. Let's give all of the money to corporations and fuck social safety nets. Let's privatize everything.
And kick everyone out who doesn't look like, who doesn't pass the shade test.
Mm. Yeah.
Crazy.
Did I sum it up there, still? Jeff?
All right.
I think my summary was pretty good.
I think your summary was kind of spot on, yeah. Kind of. What you need to understand, Clitty, is that you're very used to the Republican Party in your land. Actually, I'm going to disagree with Jeff on this one. Jeff, we need to have a fight about this. Because these are not Tories who are not in charge. This is not the Conservative Party. This is something much different and much worse. Very much worse. But that's another story. Are we still doing... Jeff?
Katie gets an upvote from Jeff.
Jeff, we're now calling her Clitty. I think Jeff would probably...
For the record, Clitty sounds awful.
Here's the
Stool.
thing. My niece...
I would if I was there, I would so slap you in the face.
My niece
Dude.
used to call me Aunt Titty. She had trouble with her K sound. So for the longest time, I was Auntie Titty.
Okay, shall we start a fundraiser to fly Jenny to the UK so she can slap stool around?
Sorry.
I'll throw 100 on that one.
Yeah, I think
Dude,
a
we should do a
license to
fundraiser
slap
for-
should be a thing, Her Majesty's Secret Service has a license to kill. I should get a license to slap.
Absolutely.
And so should Jenny.
Absolutely.
What about me?
You should get one too, yes.
I'm going to do it for you. You don't have to bother yourself. I'll take care of you. Honey.
Aw, thank you.
So,
My daughter, my adopted daughter, who
One
is
slap.
much older than I.
Well, you know.
Okay, well, maybe we should do it that way, Stool. That we'll just make it a bid that people have to donate $100 per slap.
No.
hashtag slap stool. Jeff has spoken. It's
Since it
sticking.
was about me, anything extra, can I have it to put towards like helping people? Like I can make more masks and stuff.
Hashtag slap stool.
That's a hashtag I can get behind.
Ragabash has a point. If you want to change Kitty's name, you should ask her about it.
Hey, can anybody explain to me what the purpose of a hashtag is?
Well, hashtags basically
Hashtag, no, we can't.
it's giving it a title on Twitter that can be searched.
So up
So-
until 3 years ago, it still meant the number sign to me. Sorry, Kitty, I can't stop talking.
No, it's okay.
Pound sign.
But it's like a call sign. So if you're talking about Trump and saying that he's Twitler or the Mango Mussolini, or Baboon Face or what have you, you could literally write that hashtag so that anybody who would want to read messages like that can then click that hashtag and they'll be brought to all the other messages that have that hashtag. That way it's kind of like, it's starting your own little like
Hashtags are
subsection
clickable.
areas.
I didn't know that.
Yes, hashtags are clickable, at least on Twitter, and I believe on YouTube.
Okay,
So
well,
yeah, you
that
can click on them and see everything.
I
If
know
you do
they're
like
clickable.
Moderna vaccine or get vaccinated or wear a mask, like if you click on one of those, it will bring you to every post that's recent that has those hashtags in them.
As long as you spell it the same and
Yes, it has to be spelled the same.
You are so old, Jenny.
I just never saw the purpose to them. I never heard an explanation for them when they came out, and I didn't care because I wasn't on Twitter at the time.
Look in the
Like, don't be mean, Stool.
Yeah,
I'm never
I've
mean.
really only understood what they were, or really got an explanation of what they were within the last year.
And I'll run contests against my level of technical knowledge compared to yours any day.
Okay, I'm going to try to explain this for you because I'm a good boy.
Oh God,
So
mansplaining
imagine.
incoming.
Shut up, Kitty. So imagine you're watching something on your
Stool,
television.
be nice. Good
I'm always
grief,
nice.
Be nice.
I'm always
Very
nice.
I'm not that on
I'm always nice. Imagine you're watching something on your television, Jenny, and they'll put up on screen hashtag. What would you be watching? I don't know. Hashtag a sewing program. Okay.
Like hashtag
Then lots of
homemade
people.
or hashtag sewists or
Lots of
made
people who
myself.
use that hashtag with the correct words, you'll then be able to follow that kind of thread, if you like, that train of thought.
Yes,
It's digital graffiti,
it's like
often of a political nature.
The entire web.
Oh, I like that, Doc.
So
Digital graffiti.
Think of it this way. We started early language was like pictographs, and then we evolved like script writing, and now we're getting back to pictographs and hieroglyphs again with the fact that we use fucking emojis to convey whole sentiments with one picture.
We do.
Indeed.
And shorthand as well.
Well, actually, though, the emojis aren't really pictographs. It's just another symbol set. Because you still, you've got all these emojis that a lot of people aren't going to understand if you don't explain to them at least once what they mean.
Ooh, you're being
Well,
a
if you
pedant.
understand what they mean, you don't understand the precise meaning of each one. I mean, some of these are, that's hugging? What?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Hugging looks like motorboating. I'm just gonna say.
It looks
Like
dancing.
hugging looks like you're gonna enjoy motorboating somebody. It's like little hands and a heart and a smile.
I thought the praying one was high fives, and I sent that one to everybody.
There's a praise one?
The one with the hands together?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I thought that was a high five. I've sent that to everybody, and they're like, I thought you were an atheist. But it's
This isn't a bad analogy.
It's,
Hashtag, well, hit the wrong one. Hashtags are the Dewey Decimal System of the internet.
ooh.
Yes,
That works too.
that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Spot
Yeah,
on.
it's how you can look up a subject across Twitter.
Or
Ooh,
other
that's
sites as well.
Such a cool thing.
Yeah, more and more sites are using them as a standard now.
I thought it was so cool when I learned the Dewey Decimal System and actually remembered the basic topic areas.
Oh God, I don't remember. It's been years. I used to
I
live in the
don't
library.
remember any of it anymore. Of course, the library doesn't need it anymore. All they need is a location tag for a given book and a computer database.
Well, I understood how to use the Dewey Decimal System. I never saw the need to memorize it because, it's always there in the library. So it's like I remembered a couple of specific subject numbers. I do remember when the Minneapolis Library was converting over from the Dewey Decimal to the ISBN numbers. That was a little confusing because obviously it took a while for them to, do the cross-reference for the whole collection.
You know what? I miss the Scholastic book fairs. I fucking loved those when I was in school. I used to use my allowance to go and buy books. It was fucking amazing. Like, I was the kid that was always reading when I was younger. If I wasn't reading, I was playing outside and beating up the boys in tackle football. But I literally, once I got to high school, I stopped being as like physically active outside other than doing, like in middle school I did martial arts, I did dance, but I gave that up and I was focusing more on learning. And so I was the crazy bitch that would have a backpack that had a pack of smokes, my Walkman, a towel, a little neck pillow, an umbrella for really sunny days or if it starts to rain, and a book. And I would literally climb up the back of the fence and then hop over onto the roof. And I had one of those portable ashtrays so I could keep my butts in there and not like burn the house down. And I would go chill up on the roof away from fucking everybody. And I'd be reading books like Grey's Anatomy or Mosby's Medical Encyclopedia because I wanted to be a doctor.
Hashtag rescue kitty.
I was weird.
No, Kitty is not working in a sweatshop. She owns the sweatshop.
We need that one to trend. Oh shit. Can somebody explain to Jenny what trending is?
Oh, fuck off, Stu. Be nice. Be nice, or I'm not going to make you anything nice and shiny and new.
I'm always nice.
And everybody jumps on the bandwagon.
I'm always nice. You know this.
You're not always nice. You're 99% of the time tolerable, but in that 1% of the time, you really swing hard. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Hashtag rescue kitty. Kitty,
I
not
still love you.
once if he needs rescuing.
No, I'm good. This is my hobby.
Or knock twice if your captor is smoking drugs behind you.
No.
I'm from California. Everyone smokes drugs here. What are you talking about, Stool? Where I'm from, everybody's nicotine. Technically, you smoke drugs.
Because it's rescue
You
kitty
fucking
Snapchat.
nicotine is a is a drug.
How cool! I'm watching public television here. And there's a British show, and they just had a close-up shot of a bee on a flower, and it had kind of the configuration of like a bumblebee, except it was all black, except that the butt, just a little bit of the butt, was this bright orange. It was really cool looking.
Oh, that's awesome.
I find this very interesting, Jenny. What color do you think is the skin of a bumblebee?
Oof.
Up in the front part, they have what appears to be skin, or it has areas that are hairy that are black. So I would say black there. Under the hair, if it's like other animals.
Bumblebees do not have skins. They are insects that have a chitinous shell.
It might be black and yellow under each of the colors, but I don't know.
You're correct. The
Neil
little hair.
Right when I'm going to start crying about hockey again. See, Neil knows what I'm talking about. My team got smoked tonight, 5-1. So, you know.
I was doing my thing about bumblebees, and Neil turns up, and you now want to talk about sports.
Well, he feels my pain. He knows that when your team gets annihilated.
In hockey, what was the score?
It was 5-1.
Oh.
Last night we lost 6-1, I think it was. Let me look. Like, we got smoked last night. It was embarrassing.
Have you ever heard of a pro game going 10 plus on anything?
No, but I really want people to think about this now that we are talking about hockey. One of the reasons why Wayne Gretzky was better than everybody else is because on certain nights he would put up 6 or 7 goals. And then Mark Messier would come in and score 3. They were just like that much better than everybody else. So you really don't get high scores like that unless someone's just the best. And we got
That's not how you score hockey. How many people were taken to the hospital?
I'm sad because one of my wonderfuls broke. It broke and I'm sad.
Oh no.
It's alright, I've got 49 more.
How's it going, Rag?
I'm good. I'm glad to see you guys tonight. I don't get to jump in here because it's usually a little bit late for me, but it's good to see you guys.
Awesome.
Oh, another baldy. Yay.
Hey!
Like I'm fucking broke.
Bald pride over here.
Beware of Stool. He's from the UK, so he might say a few things that will offend you. Disclaimer.
I traveled the UK when Trump was our president 2 times. He can't hurt me.
That is not from being in the UK. Not everybody in the UK is as offensive as Stool.
So I traveled around in the Bush era, and I would love it when people would say, "You're cool,"
but you've never traveled around in the Bush area.
I hate your president. People would tell me that all the time. Like, you're cool, but your president is stinky. All the time.
Yeah, and I would go out to like random places like in the West Country of Ireland, and they'd be like, "What's going on?" I'd be like, "Baby, I don't know. We tried.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey,
see, now I just have.
So, can you do me a favor and explain what a bellend is to the lovely viewers at home?
Oh gosh.
I would laugh.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I should let the
say
Brit
that?
One of my favorite. It is one of my favorite British fucking insults.
Okay, let Rag.
And if I try to explain it, I will laugh too hard.
I'm just not going to go there.
Okay, fine, I'll do it. It is a pejorative that's based on the general anatomy of the male expression of the genome. Is that am I avoiding being vulgar enough here?
You're totally doing this wrongly.
Well, I asked you to do it. I said let the Brit take it, and you deferred to me. So.
Yeah, but I'm British and I'm polite. I'm not going to take this fucking one. I'm not.
All right. You're being polite enough to say that you won't take it, but you're also not being polite enough to say that I'm explaining it wrong. So go for it.
I take it from Go Stool.
Welcome to the UK, my new bold friend. Welcome. Here we are very polite, but we can't talk about that certain bit at the end of your dick. We're not going to do that.
But that is what they're referring to when they say a bell end.
A bell end is like the clapper inside a bell. The thing that actually strikes the bell to make the noise. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of shaped like that. The penis, the head of the penis, it's kind of shaped like that. So a bell end as an insult
That's
is
the etymology.
penis.
And it's my favorite British insult. Like,
Yeah, we're allowed
knob,
to use
bell
words
end.
here.
Yeah, if you can't visualize what we're talking about, then you should probably go out and live somewhere.
Right?
I get it when you explain it, but it never occurred to me what it actually meant.
Yeah, it's the vulgar term for that part of the anatomy, and it's used essentially to mean that you're dull or you're not catching on or that you're being obstinate. Yeah?
Wanker's another one that I like. Wanker, bell end, knob.
Knob.
I think we had this conversation about 3 hours ago with Australia, Jen. Such as the C word, which Americans are not very fond of.
Cunt,
And
cunt,
Oh, I
cunt.
love that word.
So,
Cuntity, cunty, cunt.
kind of the same thing. It's a multifunctional word.
It's like the word fuck. It is very versatile.
Versatile, that's the word I was looking for, Kitty. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought they were looking for a very specific description, and I was like, I don't know how explicit I can be here. but
Versatile
I'll
means
try.
something completely different around here. You say you're versatile, you might be making friends.
Jeff,
Completely.
I've always
It's a
liked
unicorn.
Jeff, I can see you inside chat. I'm really struggling because I'm sat with all these Americans. I need your help because they're saying words.
what I've always liked is how the very posh British accent, that good day to you can mean anything from nice weather we're having to fuck off, you wanker.
Exactly.
Same. When I lived in Portland, Oregon, there was this weird thing where you'd pull out a pack of cigarettes and 50 people would ask you for one, So I learned to say no. And I would walk past people and they would say, God bless. And it was literally fuck you. But they would just say it in God bless terms, Oh, can I get a cigarette? God bless. Have a good day. But they're really telling you to F off.
I'm about to rant. So hold on.
Uh-oh.
Like, here, hold my beer. Like, I can't drink beer. So one thing I see down here in the South, in Florida or Georgia, basically, the ass crack of Satan and the Bible Belt, when it comes down to it, you'll see people that are out selling something, like they're selling newspaper subscriptions or other random shit. And when somebody says no thank you, then they go on with, well, God bless, and they try to prey on their fucking religiosity to get them to open their wallet.
Always has driven me crazy. Always.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
That
that's
pisses
like,
me off.
I was born in the Deep South. I grew up in the Deep South, and people have tried to explain Deep South vernacular to me. And they're like, well, when somebody says God bless you, they're really saying fuck you. And I'm like, sometimes it
Bless
takes
your
a
heart is
certain
usually
cultural,
fuck you.
yeah, like God bless you, bless your heart. All of that, you have to understand exactly your relationship to that person, the interaction you just had. It's not that simple. And like there are like even the Coke or pop thing, like some people will understand if you like ask them about a Coke, but they'll be like, what kind of Coke do you want? But there are also very specific times when they get aggressive about it. But I hear things generalized sometimes where I'm like, that's not what that means. I grew up here. I know what that person's saying, and you're using it to me, and you're from New Hampshire. And I just want to explain to you, you've got it wrong. I was born in the Mississippi Delta. Like the fact that I just said, oh, bless your heart. I did not mean that to say fuck you. And if you had the understanding of my vernacular, you would get that that's not what I meant. Like those sorts of
However,
things. But with some people,
had someone said something rude or uncouth, then saying bless your heart is a socially acceptable way to say fuck you,
well,
because the church congregation can't hear you using the devil's words. So
and
you
the
bless
thing
your
is, it usually, if they really mean it that way, it usually won't be directed at you unless you've just done something fucking stupid in front of them. Like, if you have just done something ridiculous in front of them, they'll go, oh, bless your heart. And it's that, like, that declining cadence of, like, you don't know any better. Oh,
I
bless
just-
your heart.
Can I just ask us a serious question?
Of
Because
course.
Americans, and I'm not being patronizing, but Americans still seem to struggle with this. And I get it. You don't understand how we proper people talk. I get it because,
Okay, begging the question, go on.
we kind of invented you. But
I knew you were gonna. I was waiting for you to say it.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
School thinks that the English invented everything.
Well, they did, but go on.
Not gunpowder.
It's all about.
Okay.
Not gunpowder.
It's about.
He doesn't understand that things evolve beyond that
Or
point, but it's cool.
paper.
Go on.
No,
Oh.
just because you're bald, it doesn't mean I didn't invent you. I'm British. Deal with this. Accept it.
I thought he was bald because the British invented hair.
But this is also true. We did invent hair. We invented it in 1962.
Bloody
It
hell,
was one of
school.
our best inventions. We invented it 1 year after the boat. We invented the boat in 1962
Darn on Peb, you have to ask first.
and the hair in 1963. But it's all about context and situation. But back to my original point before the baldy person interrupted me. I find it really quite amusing that, and not in a bad way, spunk trumpet. I do find it funny that you Americans still don't understand the idea or can't get the idea of context and situation. So I know perfectly well that this new chappy here with a bald head, if I was to say to him,
Oh,
I find you to be a really funny cunt, that's not an insult.
Right.
It means I love
Or
you.
the fact you called me a spunk trumpet. Sure.
And Doorknob Head, I think in the era of COVID, when somebody sneezes, instead of saying bless you or gesundheit, I think the appropriate response is I forgive you.
So
Or
in
fucking
LA,
get the fuck outside,
Oh,
you
no,
fucking
Stool
cesspool.
was in the middle of something. I interrupted him. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, I
Back to
got
school.
bored. I got bored.
Okay.
Fuck off.
so here,
Alright.
if you sneeze, you'll get 50 people looking at you like the door is that way. That way. It is not socially acceptable anymore. I cough all the time. I hold it in. I will walk outside.
Yeah.
You were talking about I think, I'm guessing it's a southern thing where you said that bless you thing. Or what is it? Or bless you, whatever it
No,
is.
not necessarily, because my mom says it to me, and she cares more about atheism than my sexuality. So she
Okay.
preaches to me all the time because she could care less about my sexuality. She hates the fact that I'm an atheist.
Okay.
So she always says, God bless, may God help you. And every time we talk.
Okay, let's work with this, Will. So if your mum was to say to you, bless you, or bless you, do you think that's an insult or does she love you?
She loves me, but she knows that I'm not like I came out as both 20 years ago. So it's old news to everybody. The atheism and sexuality. So it's
But the
not like anyone doesn't know.
The phrase that she said to you has two meanings.
But I don't get offended because my mom is quintessentially a Jewish mother. So she says everything to make a point. So I just respect my mom and shut my mouth,
Oh, Doorknob Head a little while ago asked if the Deep South is the same thing anatomically as it is for the U.S. Yes, it's the parts of the contiguous body that are the lowest and the swampiest, and the parts with the most forestation. Yeah,
It's
same
north.
thing.
Like
So
I
It's
said, you
north.
have to ask
It's
first.
northeast of the Bell End.
Florida's
Yeah,
tamed, and he has the Bible Belt wrapped around his waist.
if you look at a map of the U.S., it is obvious that Florida is the penis.
And the rest of the South is kind of the rectum.
Texas
Actually-
is the rectum.
Well, the Gulf of Mexico, everything in the Gulf. If you look at us from a civil engineering perspective, it's the rectum, because it's where a lot of the waste goes to be filtered. Like, things filtered down through civic engineering and get processed, but the ultimate waste products get put out into the Gulf of Mexico, so it's literally the rectum.
No, it's
And that is why Disneyland is in Florida, because we have a theme park right next to the waste of.
Yeah, that's why
Disney.
Disney World is literally where we have deep algal blooms because of all the fertilizer and waste products in the area.
Is that why Cancun's
Like,
water is so
Disney-
warm?
Disney essentially bought up the property. It was essentially a swamp, and they paid nothing for it because they used a shell company, because they knew as soon as they announced that they'd be building a theme park, the price was going to skyrocket. So they bought up everything they wanted beforehand, and then they lobbied the government for the ability to have their own city. There's actually a town that was owned by Disney, and no longer. They sold it off to another private company, but they have their own
celebration.
police force. Yes, it's
Yep,
Celebration.
celebration.
They have their own police force, hospital, fire department, school, and that is basically. I was on a flight to visit family back home in Massachusetts, where I'm originally from, and I was sitting on the plane next to this guy, and this was fucking 10, 15 years ago. And we were just chatting. He's like, yeah, I live in Celebration, basically I wanted to bend over and let Mickey fuck me up the ass, repeatedly, just for
Mhm.
the sake to say that I live in Disney City. He was charming and hilarious and kind of cute for like an older guy in his 40s. And
So, to
mind you, I
be
was like
fair-
17 at the time.
To be fair, when I was in my 20s, I paid a bunch of money to live off Sunset Boulevard, so we could basically like walk into Hollywood at any moment. And it was overpriced, and we were getting ripped off, but I had the greatest times of my youth living in Hollywood. So sometimes it's worth
imagine.
it to live in a crazy place.
I actually only live about 30 minutes from Disney. Like, I live a little closer to Universal Studios, because Universal's actually in Orlando, whereas Disney is out in Kissimmee. So it's past Orlando. It's like the next big city if you take I-4 down to
Mhm.
the west. If you take I-4 west down towards Tampa. So it's like you have Orlando, well, you have Daytona Beach, and then Sanford, where there's an airport that it's the Orlando Sanford International Airport. And they call it Orlando Sanford, but I feel bad for the people that come for international flights and they land there and realize they have an hour drive to get to Orlando. It's like it's got Orlando in the name, but it is nowhere near
Yep.
Orlando. And so you've got Sanford. And the land, I would say, like, that's got a large historic district. You have, like, Stetson University there. Then you get down to, like, Orlando and Winter Garden, which, those are some nice places. And then you go further and you got Kissimmee and then Tampa and, like, Sebring and, the A one. I can't remember. It's there was an episode of Man vs. Food on it, and you had like big fat sandwiches from Munchie's 420 Cafe, and like I think it started with an A, but I could be totally off base.
Let's see.
But there's a restaurant, Munchie's 420 Cafe there, and it very much sells these ridiculous fucking sandwiches, and they're open from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. and like their restaurant.
Sarasota. It's in Sarasota.
Sarasota. That's what it was. And then you have Yoder's there, where you can get these amazing like fucking Amish pies.
Yeah.
Sarasota's like, there's a lot of fun stuff to do there. Like, there's a pretty big Amish like Mennonite community in Sarasota. They transplanted from up north, and like so you can get some textiles that they've made, like bags, like what I've done, like here. So there's a lot to do in Florida, and here in Orlando. There are even some really cool themed restaurants. There is a restaurant called s06-ep02, which is a Dragon Ball Z themed ramen noodle shop. And then there's Naruto's, which is the Naruto themed ramen shop. And Super Saiyan, it's SOUPA, then the word Saiyan SAIYA.
Oh, that's
They're actually
awesome.
literally a stone's throw from Universal Studios. So if you came here to go to Universal, you could literally stop in and have Super Saiyan ramen for lunch, and then you could drive across town to go have Naruto's for dinner.
Hang on. Time out, please. I'm confused now. British person. So you're in Florida, Kitty?
Yes.
Right, but you just said Universal Studios.
Yes, there's
Universal
Studios here in
Studios in
Orlando.
Florida.
Is it?
There's one in California as well.
Yeah, the
okay.
first one was in
Disney and
California, but there's
Universal
one in Orlando
and
too now.
Disneyworld.
Okay.
Yeah, in the
Basically,
90s they
Disney-
opened it up to compete with Nickelodeon.
So
Basically,
okay.
Disney decided that he didn't like his park in California as much because he didn't want people being taken out of the illusion where you see actors walking around off the clock in their costumes, or you see people picking up trash, and you notice these things, and he thought it would take you out of your suspension of disbelief and out of the illusion of being in Disney World.
Mhm.
So what he did is he essentially built the entirety of Disney World above a basement, and there are trolley carts that go under there. All the break rooms are underground. Cast members, which is what they call the actors that play the different roles, like Belle or Jasmine, they have to go in the underground tunnels to get to their posts. They're not allowed to be seen away from their area above ground.
So, and that's in Disney World, as in Florida. So did they have the same regime in Disneyland?
The one
No,
in California
Disneyland
is a
was
little bit
first.
different,
Yeah.
and it's tiny. I've been to both.
Yeah.
Disneyland in California, you could like my son and I. Every time we go, we get bored and we spend $200 on
Okay,
pretzels and churros.
Yeah.
I just want to know, how is it that Disney World is built above a basement when it's in Florida?
Oh,
How can you have a basement when the entire
So they-
state is below the
all
water
right.
table?
So that's why they
basement is
built
not-
it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say the basement's not actually a basement. It's not built into the ground. It's literally the first floor of all of the buildings, and then they put essentially concrete to make a new street, a new walkway above it. So it's essentially all of Disney happens on the second floor. The first floor is
Okay.
the hidden area.
Mhm. And they
So-
built it into a basin in the middle of the state. So it's built in outside of Orlando, which is in the middle of a peninsula. So it was essentially a little bit of a salt marsh, and they drained it and turned it into foundation material for the buildings they built above
Okay,
it.
that's what I was wondering about, is how they
And
could have
that-
built anything below ground when they started out with a swamp.
And
Yeah.
that's why they started
Literally, what
shell companies
what
to
Kitty
buy up
described-
the land so that they could essentially get the land for dirt cheap, because nobody wanted the
Yeah.
brackish swampland. So they got it
Yeah.
for literally pennies on the dollar of what it
Yeah,
would be
I
worth
knew about
had
how
it
they
not
acquired
been.
it, yeah.
Yeah, it was basically part of the Everglades that wasn't part of the Everglades,
Hmm.
is what it comes down to.
That's how they built every amusement park after, because Six Flags, if you've ever worked at a Six Flags, the employees walk under the park.
Yes.
So you are not seen if you're not in uniform or you are not in character. You are not seen.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think it makes a lot of
that's
sense
one
to do
thing.
it that way.
Like
Not very
Disneyland in
far
California came first, and Disney didn't like it. I mean, sure, it brought him a bunch of money, but he didn't like the fact that people were taken out of the illusion. So
Yeah,
he bought
it's
up all the
surrounded
land,
by
built Disney
Anaheim.
World,
Yeah,
and then
it's
Oh
surrounded
my
by
God.
Anaheim.
I hate that
and there's
word.
a lot of land. It's huge. It's a huge property that Disney lives on. It takes up it's the size
Don't
of a
say
city.
Anaheim.
Yeah,
Memories.
Disney
Memories.
World has its own zip
No.
code.
Anaheim.
We
But
are
then Universal
apparently
came
triggering
after.
Stool's PTSD, but I don't know why he's so
Yes,
bad.
I got triggered. I got triggered there. I'm a snowflake.
So what is so horrible about that? The name of that city?
I hated it
Spelling?
so much. Just don't ask me why, because I can't remember a fucking thing about it. I was young and I'm, whatever.
Like, what happens in Anaheim? Because I honestly I don't remember like anything about it other than it's in like Cali.
Yeah, it's a suburb essentially that's really urbanized. It has the Angel Stadium. Godless Sewing probably
Sorry,
actually.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So Anaheim, California
There you
is
go.
quite literally a tourist town. They now have the Ducks. They have a beautiful hockey stadium that you can see from Disneyland. So if you live in Anaheim, you can walk into Disneyland, and California Adventure is across the street. If you keep walking past both, you can walk to the pond because Disney owns everything. And they now have the ESPN zone down there. Their downtown area it's all Disney, so it's perfect. They have a
Perfect.
water park. They have a water park that that's the one place my son and I have not gone yet. It is a place where memories are like the kids get a wand and they can walk up and play any game with their wand. Like it's an indoor water park and it's magical.
Yeah, they built one here in Orlando as well, and then there's Discovery Cove where you can go and swim with dolphins. It's ridiculously expensive, but it is something you can do.
And the dolphins got sick a couple of years ago, so they had to shut it down for like 6 months.
I've said this before. I stopped going to zoos and to places like SeaWorld because it just made me sad. It was a tradition. I would take my son at least 4 or 5 times a year.
This is one of the reasons I want to go to Australia, because there is a cove in Australia where wild dolphins will come in on their own to interact with the people.
Oh, up here, the dolphins surf all the time. Up here,
I've done
all
that
the time. Dolphins are amazing. They're
And
not like
you've met the dolphins in Australia, Stool?
Oh, I've done a lot of cool things that you people will not believe, especially the bald person down below, because he thinks I'm a weirdo.
I will
not
say
believe
this.
you at all.
I will say this one thing about Anaheim. One of my greatest memories is I saw after all the years of watching wrestling in 2000 something. I'd been to WrestleMania. I'd seen all the house shows. I saw Hulk Hogan at the Arrowhead Pond, and I went like this. Well, with this side with my hand, because with his tan, he's darker than I am.
Yeah.
And it shocked me because I had such good seats that he walked right past me, and I'm like, Hulk Hogan is the same color as me. It tripped me out. It just tripped me out. Just to see how big he was first, because I've seen wrestlers, but Hulk Hogan, that was my guy. I'm showing my age right now, but when I was a kid, that was my guy.
You know what I'm going to say, Will?
But
we had a guy in Milwaukee I would have loved for you to meet. His name is Dick Bacon, and he was a Mr. Universe at one point in his life. And he spent his entire adult life, it seems, on the lakefront of Milwaukee with this circle that he would build every day of panels that were silver, and then he would lay on this lawn chair in his Speedo, and he would tan every day. Sun, winter, doesn't matter. He was out there, and that's what made his name so funny, of Dick Bacon, because he was always out there baking. And he was this known person in Milwaukee. Everybody knew who Dick Bacon was, and if you would have seen him, you would not believe how dark he was. He was blonde. He was absolutely like a Scandinavian or something. But he was dark. God,
And
I
at
would say-
32, he looked like he was 96 and died of skin cancer.
he
Right.
was at least like Wayne Brady dark.
We call those people weathered and leathered. We get a ton of people like that here.
He finally died of not skin cancer, believe it or not.
Kitty-
something else, I forget.
I have a question for Kitty. Do you come across a lot of tanning addicts?
Yes, we have a lot of them here. There's tanning beds in like every strip mall as well.
Mhm.
So it's like the sun isn't like good enough. They go to the tanning beds, you know, where they can lay naked and fucking give themselves cancer everywhere instead of just, you know, most
Okay.
everywhere.
I have to ask if this occurs in other states. In Minnesota, there are a number of places like a tan and wash that it's a laundromat that has tanning beds for you to lay in while you're waiting for your clothes.
That's normal here.
Do other states have this?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
not a thing.
Yes.
There's a couple
That's
places
not a
where
thing.
you go do your laundry, and there's a coffee shop and a dog wash.
A dog
Yeah.
wash.
Yes, where you can like sit and have your coffee or have a cocktail and have your dog wash.
Having a coffee shop with a laundromat makes perfect sense.
What?
Because yeah, you need something to do while you're sitting there for 45 minutes
There's
waiting
a
for
Lucy's
change
in
loads.
Hollywood that has a Subway. You can get a tan.
not a
You can wash your
thing.
clothes. They have a cigarette shop. There's like a vape shop within walking distance of it.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
so real
go ahead.
quick, back like here in Orlando, there's actually this resort. It's called the Gaylord Palms Resort. And every year they have an ice show where they bring in these Chinese ice sculptors, and they do these amazing things from like nativity scenes to polar bears, and absolutely stunning. They even have like a 3-story high slide made out of ice that you can get on your little like rucksack or whatever and slide down the ice slide, and it's freaking freezing inside. Like they give you these big heavy like parka things that are like rated for sub-zero temperatures. But at this resort, they also have a central area that has the different habitats displayed of Florida. So like there's the Everglades area, there's you know, like the beach area, and so there's like 5 or 6 different habitats. Well, in the Everglades one, they actually have live alligators, and they're down like in a pit, like a bit down lower than the floor, so that, you know, you have to like lean over, and even then you wouldn't be able to touch one of the gators. Well, every 2 days or twice a week they do a feeding show, and I just happened to be there for the ice show while they were doing the feeding, so I got to watch it, and this alligator actually snapped at the guy, and it hit the light, and the light shattered, and there was this big spark, and apparently it cut the gator's eye a little bit. Now, this gator was actually about this long. Like it was almost as long as my body. And I stayed after everybody had left, and I asked the guy, you know, do you need anything? I already sent someone from my party to go to the concierge desk to get like electrical tape or medical tape, something like that, so that he could tape up the gator's mouth. But I happened to have a bunch of wrist ties on my arm. So this guy said, here, give me the hair ties. And so he used the hair ties to wrap the alligator's mouth, because they can chomp down really hard, but they can't open they don't have very strong opening muscles. So then he was like, here, can you give me a hand with this? And I had to lean over this railing down into this pit and grab this like 4.5-foot alligator and then get it up onto the floor so that he could come out from the pit area. And like, I've got my shins on its back legs, my feet on its tail, my forearms on its front, and my hands holding his mouth, because I was not taking any fucking chances. And this is back in like 2009, 2010. So I literally got to wrangle an alligator Steve Irwin style. And it's definitely one of the highlights of my life. I think this was actually before he died too, or right around the time that he
somebody
died.
earlier mentioned that they wanted to go to Australia. I forget who said that.
Bethany, like I do want to
I did.
visit there.
I've been there and it's cool. And I went to don't laugh, Will. I'm doing my story. Come on. And
Tell the one where you got arrested. You almost got arrested by the LAPD for smoking on a plane.
Let him tell the story he started to tell first.
You dick. How the fuck do you remember that? I hate you so much. That's not even the best one. Did I even tell you that?
You told me because you don't want to know why? Because the LAPD does not discriminate. They don't care who you are. They will point their gun at you and end you real quick.
I hate you so much. But I can't believe you remembered that. Anyway, so in Australia, I'm not a big fan of zoos for obvious reasons, but I went to Sydney Zoo. This is back in the 90s. And it ties in with Kitty's story about the big mouth thing.
The gator.
But they're not gators, they're crocodiles.
They're crocodiles.
And these things are fucking bigger than your fucking life. They're huge. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest and loudest and most scariest noises I've ever heard in my life was when that thing went boom and closed its jaws. It was loud and scary.
Yeah.
It made me poo in my pants. It was terrifying.
I can imagine. Like, I got to hold it, and like then he actually had a smaller gator, like a little baby one that was only about like yay big, that was meant for people to hold and take pictures with. And I don't think any of the pictures of me like holding on to the bigger gator actually survived. I think just the ones of the smaller gator. But the gator had gotten so big that he needed to go to Gatorland, which is another park here, and it's just a giant swamp where gators, because a lot of shops actually have pet alligators, and you can watch feeding shows and stuff like that. But then when they get too big to handle, then they go to Gatorland, which is again just a swamp where people still come to watch the gators get fed. But I got to name him, and I decided to name him Sparky because like he was spunky and he bit and there was a big spark, and it wasn't the most imaginative name, but I thought it fit.
Okay, Kitty. Complete.
Tell them about Minneapolis' Ice Castle.
Okay. Yep, we're getting that. Just a second. Kitty, just a quick side note. You said you had a bunch of the hairbands on your arm?
Yeah.
Why were you wearing them that way?
You got hairy arms.
No, because I lose them regularly, and one, I like the look, and sometimes I'll actually take 2 different ones, and I will loop them onto my wrist in a different way, where I'll loop them like this and have them so that you see the little holes in there, and I lose them a lot. And the easiest way I found to keep things that I don't want to lose are on my arm. Like, it went back to high school when I would write down my homework assignments on my arm in pen, and the teacher like would bitch at me for it. But I was like, look, if I lose my arm, I've got more pressing matters than your fucking English assignment, So like, I didn't want to lose the loose leaf paper that I had written the assignments on, because one time I was driving from Florida to Massachusetts. I made the drive in about 17 or 18 hours. I was speeding a little bit. So I made the drive. And on that drive, I only stopped for gas. And in one stretch, I actually lost my lighter 7 times without having moved my ass from the driver's seat. Like, I am so good at losing things that I found that just keeping it on my arm is the safest bet.
Purple, I wear scrunchies as bracelets.
Okay, I was just asking about that.
Bottle.
Yep.
Have a bunch of hair ties around it.
I was just asking about that, about you wearing them on your arm, because I used this for a character in one of my stories, and I got complaints from people that no woman would be doing this.
Oh, please.
Those people have never met a woman in their life.
Exactly.
I just wanted to hear somebody else explain it.
Perp, I wear hair
Yes,
ties.
no, I do it all the time.
Have you seen my eyebrows? I need hair ties just to keep these things up.
When you say you want to go to Australia, purple? Do you have a certain place in mind, or just in general?
Just in general, just because I'd like to take a photo safari to, see all of the weird wildlife in its natural habitat.
I'll be right back.
We've got the black mambas and fucking asps and all the other fucking nasty snake buggers and the fucking tunnel web spiders that will fucking rot your face off, or your toe at least. Like, there's scary flora and fauna.
To be honest, what I've heard about the redback spiders, that would be something to see.
See, we have red belly spiders.
Not redback. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the funnel web spiders, and then there's like giant spiders that like eat birds, and like that's horrifying. That's nightmare fuel.
Well, I've heard that some of the redbacks can get a leg span the size of a dinner plate. As far as the funnel web spiders, we actually have some species of funnel web spiders here. They're not nearly as large.
So because I'm reactionary, if I saw something that big, I'm grabbing Aqua Net and a lighter. And I'm putting my boots on. I'm fearless with my boots. I'm gonna put my boots on and spray the shit out of that thing.
The only thing that scared me about Australia was sharks, and
they will fuck you up too.
Jellyfish.
Bull tiger sharks, the fucking box jellyfish, and like the man of war.
Jellyfish will seriously fuck with you.
Yeah, they will.
So I surfed for a while, and in Mexico, they like grab you. They're like, "We know you're not from here, so let's tell you everything you're gonna die from in the ocean," and they see if you still want to go out there. Same danger.
The fucking Gulf of Mexico is so fucking filthy, disgusting from all the dumping that's done in there. There was a guy that he went and he got this gorgeous fucking tattoo on his back. It was a full back piece. And, like, he spent thousands on it and, like, tens of hours in the chair for it. Then he decides, like, a couple of days after, he's going to go swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. And he ended up with it getting infected. And they had to make an incision, and they literally were pushing, and gallons of pus was pouring out of this incision. Like, it sounds like Venice insanity.
Beach. That sounds like Venice Beach, California.
Blood and pus, and it was terrible.
That's gross. People get rashes. They get all kinds of weird stuff. But there's a rendering plant right off the beach near there.
Australia's got drop bears, and they come with Bundy rum, like Bundaberg rum. There's drop bears. There's fucking polar bear. There's Bundy, the drop bear, fucking Bundy rum, and they have rum and coke already in a can there. You just pop the top, and you enjoy your fucking rum and coke.
Like that's a weird thing.
But it's a true thing.
Yeah, but why is it weird? That's normal.
All right, kids.
They don't usually sell rum and coke here. Like, they'll sell them separately, but not together unless you go to a bar.
America.
It is nearly 3:30 in the morning where I'm at. I have a long day tomorrow. I'm going to jump out of here, but I appreciate you guys letting me jump in and have fun.
You got anything you want to chill out before you go?
Oh gosh, my YouTube channel has been dormant for the last couple of months because I've been taking time off, but you can find me on YouTube at Ragabash Dabbler. I do D&D streaming with Nat One Heroes, and I will be on the ACA the second week of June with the nonprofits.
Okay. Yeah, I've already got your links in the description down there.
Oh, thanks, Levy. All right. Well, I
try
appreciate
to do that
it
for everybody who jumps in here.
No, that was fun.
Was so
and
nice meeting you, honey.
Yeah, likewise. Like I said, this stream's a little bit late, but find me on Twitter, Ragabashd. Find me on elsewhere, wherever you can find me.
Anytime you're around, right? I do my other ones Wednesday at noon Central Time.
Wednesdays are my day off. If I'm up by then, I will totally jump in.
Okay, we'll catch you later.
Awesome.
All right, I'll talk to you later, guys.
Bye.
Take care. honey.
Bye.
I have to leave as well. My phone's about to
He
die.
just wasn't bold enough.
Doc,
Oh,
you sound
Doc,
great.
your new phone's gonna die already?
Yo, it's low on power. I can't plug it in while I use the earbuds.
To be
So-
fair, oh, so you got an iPhone.
Well, it lasted you about 2.5 hours here. That's not too bad.
And you
Yeah.
sound
No,
Wow.
you're streaming
I'm
video.
down to 1%.
That was actually quite a record for you, Doc. That's like 2 hours
Oh,
you've
kind
done.
of. And the old phone could last that long potentially, but it was weird and sketchy. So
Well,
Seems
Anyway.
we're
it
very
might be
proud of
5G
you.
microchips.
TTFN.
All right, have a great one.
Take care, Doc.
Bye, Doc.
I'm literally
I know. I
going
should
up this
be.
last side.
I should be going to bed
And
at a
I'm
decent
off
time.
to bed.
Is everybody petering out? Should we be winding this down here?
I am going to be heading to bed here in the next 5 minutes or so.
Okay, you people are going to do this to me, even though when we started I had to chug a Red Bull because I didn't think I'd make it through. So now I'm not going to be able to sleep for another 3 hours yet.
I got the vaccine, my second dose of the vaccine today, and it's starting to hit me. I'm getting tired.
Ah.
Like
Yeah. Which one did you get?
Moderna.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the
Moderna, it made
Pfizer,
me
but they had
really
told me it would be like
tired.
12 to 24 hours when the symptoms hit.
And my arm hurt. Like I got the shot around noon my time, and it's like 3:30 my time now. So it's been
Mhm.
12 to 14 hours, you know, in that range. And like I'm starting to feel a bit achy, and I'm very tired. Like it's nothing major, just like that general malaise you get when you don't feel well, but you can't really put your finger on exactly what the issue is. Like that's how I felt with the first dose too. I'm just worried this one will be worse. But find me on Twitter. I'll do my shilling. Find me on Twitter at Kitty the Atheist. Also on Perp and B streams, and every Thursday I am on either Sewing Circle or What the Fuck Show with Jen and Will, depending on which one we decide to do. Since I am officially a co-host now, and like I am still
What the
super
fuck does
super
that mean?
stoked and glad that they've asked me to be a part of the show permanently. Like you guys are
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
the best. Other than that, wear a mask, wash your hands, get vaccinated, don't be a dick.
Yeah, well, go get some sleep before you sew your hand shut.
Yeah, that would suck. I already poked myself with pins a couple of times. That's why I started moving to clips, so I didn't draw blood and bleed all over the bag. Will knows what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
These things are ultra fine, so they're like a hypodermic needle, or like the needle, like the lancet. Like if you ever give yourself a finger stick for checking your blood glucose levels,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, these will literally punch through and make a little tiny hole in your finger that will well up with blood, just like a finger stick. I mean, it self-seals in like a matter of minutes, but it still hurts like a bitch.
My finger's gross. It's like I have no feeling there or
Yep.
on my thumb because I've stabbed myself so many times.
All right, I am
Okay.
out for the night. I adore all of you. Be safe and be well, and I'm gonna go collapse asleep.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, Kitty.
Bye.
Jinx.
Okay. Jenny, Stool, either of you have anything you want to show?
There is no movie night tomorrow night.
Aww.
Our host had to drive to New Jersey for a baby shower.
I've still never seen it.
Drink.
Yeah. So I guess it'll maybe return next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
I watched
know
it.
it seems an awful long way for a baby shower, but I suppose if it's somebody you're really close to. Okay,
Okay.
Will, do your spiel.
Oh shit! Here we go.
Hi. Hi. I'm Godless Sewing from the Godless Sewing channel. Do you like train wrecks? Do you like utter and complete? Do you like looking at stool for no reason? Come on down to the Godless Sewing channel. We pick a subject, we judge people, we have sewing circles every Thursday. Jen from Jen's Little Corner,
You finish it.
the Empress of Hell, and myself have the What the Fuck show. Eventually, one day we will do it again. If not, we have the sewing circle where we come together as friends and talk it out. So if you like what you see, come on down. And you know what? I'd like to thank my new subscribers and to the extra 10 people that watched tonight. Thank you. You guys are amazing. And and also every Wednesday, Sam Chaos, Maddie from Science Side Up, and myself have a podcast called Pub Religion. And we are on our 7th show or 8th show. I am so off because it's late and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Every Wednesday at 3:30 Pacific West Coast time, come down to Sam Chaos's channel and we do an amazing podcast. And if I forgot about you, I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, Jenny, any final words?
Everyone have a pleasant weekend. Don't be a dick.
Okay, then I will thank my patrons, Vonrick, Junie the Apostate, Ox, Robert X, Mikey Famine, the Lavender Lady, and Greg Hartwick. These people are, helping me along and actually getting a little extra money, so we'll see what we can do to grow the channel a little more. And again, thanking Junie for the new avatar. I'm just loving it. So
It's very cool.
Absolutely.
It matches the purple that you've done with your texty thing. It's very pleasant.
okay, so with that, thank you everyone, and to everyone a good night.